How's everybody's day going?
Good.
That's good. Is it getting cold where y'all from?
I think it's in the 20s right now, but it was below zero for a few days.
Yeah,
Not
us
too
too.
far below, but
Yeah, we've been staying in the negatives a lot. All right, so if you could just type in the chat bar where you guys are from while we are waiting for a few others to join us shortly here. I'm just gonna wait for a minute or two and then we will begin. We have one person from Kenai. And just a reminder, I'd like you guys involved with this meeting too. So if you guys have any comments or questions during the meeting, feel free to put in the chat bar or just pause me and ask your questions. Does that sound good to everyone? Thumbs up in the chat bar. That sounds good to you? All right, that's good. One person agrees. All right, two people agree. All right, so I'm not seeing anybody come along here, but if I see anybody else join while we are in the meeting, I will let them join. So we are going to start now. So today we're going to talk about how to empower students to start a P7 club and how to start a P7 club. These are the first steps for pastors, youth pastors, and students. All right, let's go to our next slide here. All right, so first we're going to talk about how to empower students to start a P7 club. And a reminder, feel free to pause me if you have any questions at any time in this meeting. So the first step I'd say is motivate them. Tell them, you got this. I believe in you. You can do this. Share examples of other P7 clubs. Say in Bethel, they've been doing this in their P7 club, or in Anchorage, because down there in Anchorage at Sister Stacy's church, they have a P7 club run by Micah, and I believe one person received the Holy Ghost and one person got America. So we've seen phenomenal things through P7 clubs. 1 minute, we have one other person joining us. Welcome. All right, we're going to continue on now. We were just talking about how to empower students for the person who just joined us here. So we started off by talking about you start by motivating them, telling them they got this, you can do it. And the next step to empowering your students to start a P7 club would be to build that relationship with them, build that one-on-one connection with them, get to know them on a one-on-one basis. And so they know you and that you know them. They will want to start a P7 club. So when you believe in them, they'll be like, somebody that I know believes in me, so I want to do it more. Then the next step, which I kind of already hit on, is let them know that you believe in them, that you are there for them. And if there's a situation, you've got their back and you're there for them to back them up. If there's a problem in their P7 club as a youth pastor or as a pastor, you do that. All right, any questions on that before we continue on? You can type it in the chat bar or you can let me know. So I'm just going to give you guys a minute to write down if you got any questions. If not, just say you're good or give me a thumbs up. All right, one person good. How are the rest of you guys doing? All right, another person said good. So we're going to continue on here then. So that's pretty much all I had to say about empowering students. If you get any questions at the end, feel free to ask. Next slide. All right, this part is really important for youth pastors, and those looking to start a P7 club, because if you want to lead students into starting a P7 club, you need to be able to teach them how to start that P7 club, how to take those first steps into starting that. That P7 club, or for the youth in this meeting today, you need to know how to take those first steps to starting that P7 club in your home school or in your school. All right, next slide here. All right, so the first step is to pray and partner. So the first step in starting your P7 club is to pray. So pray that God will give you the direction and wisdom as you start your club. Pray that God would lead you as you walk into that school, because when you walk into that school, you're taking on this fight and you're being like, devil, you're not going to take over this school. I'm going to let God win the souls and the hearts and lives of people in this school. And pray for your school leaders, pray for your school staff, that they would embrace the club, for students to be hungry and open to attend your club. Because if you want students to come, they need to be open and hungry. And there are hungry people in your school. You just need to be where they're at and pray that God will lead you to those spots where those students are at that are hungry, so you can be there. And it's not just about reaching the students, you're also reaching all the staff there. You're reaching the teachers in those classrooms. You're reaching the EAs. So pray God would lead you to any of the hungry hearts in the school as you're starting this P7 club and as you continue on throughout it, for those who are continuing on through this journey and not just starting it. And also pray that God would prepare the way for you to start this P7 club, and that God would make the road nice and smooth so you don't have any struggle finding a teacher or talking to the principal. Be sure to partner with your spiritual leaders, your youth pastor, your youth leaders, your pastor, and so much more. You can also partner with me by letting me know you want to start a P7 club and that you want to take those first steps. And I will pray for you. I know your pastors will pray for you. Your youth pastors will pray for you. We will all pray for you. We got your back. So partner with them for the help and support, because we are here to support you. We are here to help you through your journey of starting that P7 club. We are not allowed to go into your school and physically start the club and lead it, because I can't go into every school in the district and start a P7 club. It's up to you guys to help me do this. It's up to the students to help me do it, and the youth pastors and the pastors to encourage the students to do it, so that we can have more P7 clubs in our district and reach more people, one story at a time. That we can also be a valuable asset in giving you guidance. So like when you're struggling, when you're having a hard time leading your P7 club, we are here to guide you and lead you throughout it. We also give you guidance, insight, training. So if you have a situation that comes up, or if you need help starting your P7 club, leading your P7 club, later on this year, we'll talk about how to lead a P7 club and stuff like that, just suggestions. And we'll also give you encouragement along the way. So if you need encouragement, talk to me, talk to your pastor, talk to your youth pastor, and we'll all give you encouragement. And then be sure to have them pray with you as well. So ask that they would pray with you as you begin this journey. Or youth pastors, I ask that you would pray for your students to get the hunger and desire to do this, and pastors as well in this meeting today, that the students would get a hunger and desire to do it, and the people in the school would be hungry to go to these meetings. All right, that's it for that slide. Any questions on that? Go ahead and type it in the chat bar if you have any questions. Why? Go on to the next slide. All right, since we have no questions coming in, we're just going to continue on to plan and present. All right. It may seem intimidating at first, and this may seem like the scariest part of starting a P7 club because you have to go talk to your the leaders at your school. You have to talk to the school staff and sometimes the school board, which can be pretty scary and intimidating because it's all up to them if they choose to allow it or not. So to start off with you need something to start off with. You can't just come in with a blank sheet of paper and be like, I want to start this club, or have nothing on your mind to talk about when you're talking to the principal. You need to be prepared. Which today we're going to talk about how you can be prepared for the meeting with the principal. So we assure you, however, that we will provide all the help you need as you begin this process of starting your P7 club. So if you have a struggle starting it or anything, even if it's homeschool, middle school, whatever, we will be here to guide and help you as you embark on this journey. We will help you get any necessary tools you need. Anything you need at all, just let me know and I will do my best to try and get it to you or talk to your youth pastor if you need it as well, because they're there to help you as well, and your pastor. And we'll help with anything you need to get your club approved by the school and to launch it, because getting your club approved and launching it is one of our goals, to make sure you launch that club and that you reach students and you start the harvest in your school. So planning is 90% of the work. Presenting your plan to the school administration is 10% of the work. If your planning is done well and you have everything organized by the sheet you're going to present to the principal on, you have no reason to be intimidated or scared about starting your club. Rather, you'll be able to confidently present your plan and have a successful launch when you start that club. So if you come with all the necessary tools, you'll be ready to have that launch. All right, there's somebody else just joining us on here. All right, now we're going on to the next slide here. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat bar. Now we're going to talk about what you need, because you need to know what you need to present this to your school. So first of all, as you can see on the slideshow, you will need a student interest list. Complete a list of friends. It can be about 5 to 15 people, but the more people you have, the better. But they would like to see at least 5 people on the form and signatures. They don't just have to be your friends, though. They can be anyone you run into at school. You just need that student interest list. Just ask people around, be like, hey, would you be interested in this club? We will have games, snack, and so on. Then the second thing you will need as you present this to your school is a letter to the school. Send a letter to your principal or vice principal starting your desire to start your club. So in that document, pick, why do you want to start the club? What will you have in the club? Describe what it's going to be like, what the atmosphere will be like, so principal and the school will understand. And then you need your chapter. So most school clubs have a chapter that outlines how the club will operate. So in that chapter, you could have, first we're going to start off with worship, or first we're going to start off with playing games. It's great to start with playing like games. Youth love games, as the youth would know in this meeting today. All the youth are here. The next thing you need is meeting with the principal. This part may seem scary and intimidating, but you don't have to be afraid. Your school administration loves to see students take on this role of leadership. They love to see you become a leader. They may be a little scared of allowing and approving a faith-based club, but if you're unaware of your rights to do as a student, be sure to check them out before you meet with the principal so you understand them and you can present them to your principal if they don't know the rights. So the next part is pitfall. Some school administrations are not aware of the rights as a school and may be nervous about letting a student start a religious club. If this becomes a problem, you should politely explain the Equal Access Act and the Student Bill of Rights, which you can find on the p7clubs.com. So you can find it there. That, just to be clear for all who live in Yukon, that is only for the US. So you can only use that for the US, not for Canada. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on that? Go ahead and type it in as I go to the next slide. All right, so I'm not seeing any questions. So we're gonna continue on to our next bit of information here. We have one more person joining us real quick, so I'm just gonna allow them in. All right. The next part is prepare and practice. So first you need to register your club on p7clubs.com, which we went over last week. So if you weren't there for that part, be sure to check the video out from last week, which is on the Alaska-Yukon P7 Club's YouTube channel, which we'll be posting all our videos on. So if you ever miss one of these meetings, you'll be able to watch it later on. All right, so once your club is approved, be sure to get it on the map by registering your club on p7clubs.com. If you need any support along the way, feel free to ask me and I will help you with that if there's any trouble. The next part is prepare for your first meeting. There are many ways to lead a Bible club. We're gonna share some tips real quick, which we're gonna dig into, like how to advertise your club more next month, I believe. And then you're gonna get out the word. Tell everybody you know about it. And just let everybody know. Use a PA system, the school newspaper, the bullet boards. If any other student-led clubs use these resources, the Equal Access Act allows you to use it as well. I have a question here. Does that go for homeschooling too? Are you talking about the registering your club part for homeschooling?
The Equal Access Act.
Oh, the Equal Access Act. Okay, so you guys have a little bit more freedom to do it because you don't have to talk to a principal, right?
Right, but I know that the funding for the curriculum doesn't cover faith-based things. So
Okay.
I wasn't sure what all that went for.
Okay. So are you talking about like them giving money towards it, or what are you exactly trying to figure out here? Can you give me more detail to your question?
I wasn't sure, like, I don't necessarily know what the student rights are yet, but I wasn't sure since they don't fund faith-based things if they would approve a faith-based club. I don't know what all clubs there are, so I don't know if they have done that before.
So I don't know exactly the rules for homeschool. I need to dig into the equal access more. But the equal access is for like all schools, private and homeschool, not as much for. It's mainly public school. Does that help answer your question? It mainly focuses on public school because public school is usually the hardest to get into.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
I think that helps.
if your homeschool system doesn't allow it, you could do it without doing it through the homeschool system. You could like do it through your own way. And for fundraising, usually the school doesn't give any funds for that. You'd either have to talk to your youth pastor or your pastor how to do funds for that, because you could work with your youth group on doing fundraising for that and stuff. I know I asked my church once to give funds towards that, so you could ask your pastor if you could like make an announcement that we're starting a P7 club and we will need funds for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, I wasn't thinking that it would give money to it. I just wasn't sure since they don't fund faith-based things. I think that's a state thing though. I think that's
Yeah,
why they don't do that. So it might not affect that. I was just asking to see if that still applied.
yeah. I think not as much homeschool, just mainly
Okay.
public school. Because I know they did say in a video I watched once that the rules don't really apply to private schools and homeschools because they kind of have their own rules outside of the Equal Access Act. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, any other questions before we continue on here? Like that's all the question we have for right now. So now I'm going on to the next bit. All right, we were on. We're gonna go on to practice now. So now it's time to launch. Put to practice all the things you learned and launch your first meeting. Make your first meeting a major hit. So what I mean by that is like you make it a big, big deal. So when you go around to people and tell them about it in your school, or when you go to people's doorsteps and tell them about it if you like go to homeschool, you're like, hey, we're starting this P7 club. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have games, snacks, drinks. And when you're introducing it to people who haven't been in the church before, focus on the games, snacks, and drinks because that's what they're going to mainly be interested in too. Try and get pizza in your meetings. Try and get donuts because donuts really make youth want to go to a meeting if it has donuts or pizza. All right, next slide here. All right. Produce. Now that you unlocked your faith in your school, it's time to produce the harvest and start turning your world, your school, everyone who goes to school upside down, including the staff members. Next slide. I know we hit a bit on this last week, but I'd like to just dig into it more. So I organized in what order we are going to do the next meeting topics. So you guys could have an exact order of it so you know what's coming up and what you're going to learn about. And if there's anything else you guys are interested in learning about in P7 Club, let me know and we will work on getting that into the plan. So next month in December, we want to talk about how to advertise your P7 Club because that's an important part in starting your P7 Club is how to advertise it because you need to know how to share it with others. The next thing is how to disciple your students, which I'm going to share the steps I use. I'm also going to be sharing it in how to advertise, how to grow your P7 club, what to do in a P7 club, how to lead a P7 club, just suggestions that I use, what to do if people aren't paying attention in P7 club, which can be a real issue with youth because sometimes youth get a bit distracted, different seasons of a P7 club. So just like a church has different seasons, a P7 club will have different seasons. There will be good seasons, there will be bad seasons, there will be seasons of growth, there will be seasons people get the Holy Ghost, there will be seasons of harvest. We're going to be digging into that more later. Then we'll talk about what to do in a P7 club, how to deal with someone who threatens to shut down your P7 club, which can be a real issue, especially if you go to a public school. People may threaten that they're going to shut it down. I had to deal with that personally once. So if you guys ever have to deal with that, I just want to give you guys some pointers and tips of what to do in those situations because they can be really hard and really stressful to deal with. How to stay connected with P7 students in the summer, which is really important to note. So we're planning on doing that either in May or June. So you guys have that as a summer lesson. So we know during the summer how to stay connected with them because even in the summer, we need to stay connected with our P7 students. We can't just put them on the back burner and be like, oh, forget about you because it's summer. I'm just going to enjoy my summer and forget that. Because you can't just forget your P7 students just because it's summer. So that's all I have to talk about today. Before I go on to questions, I have a few things to share with you guys. So our next meeting is happening December 14th at 3 p.m. Alaska time and 5 p.m. Yukon time. If that doesn't work for anybody in this meeting today, please let me know and we will work on that. Then at HYC, all P7 leaders are invited to help out at the P7 booth. Because we want you guys to share your testimonies with all the other people interested in starting a P7 club, which will have interest forms and all that stuff, just like we had at youth camp. Also, me and Jared Hobson are working on a P7 video to show at HYC. So if you have any testimony P7 videos you'd like to share with me, or if you have any P7 photos you'd like to share with me, send that straight to my email, abcolvin11@gmail.com. If you need that again, let me know and I can text that to you. I will give you guys till December 17th to get it to me. So are there any questions, comments, or concerns before we end? I know I saw a comment coming on here as I was getting into the announcements. All right, so we have a question here. So I'm going to read it and I'm going to try my best to answer it. How can I keep my youth helpers responsible and well loved so they are not discouraged? So for the first part of that question, I would suggest maybe sometimes having them bring in snacks or help them with games. Encourage them as you go throughout the week. Tell them they got this, they can do it. Tell them that let them know that you believe in them. And then also, how can I continue to train them and set boundaries and remain positive? So for that part, I'd suggest like having once in a while trainings so they can understand the rules and the boundaries you have, and to keep them positive, continually encourage them, keep them updated with what's going on so they can be excited for what's going on within the youth. The example, when the helpers cancel too often or are late constantly and need a better balance. Maybe start to help them get that balance of church and life. I'm trying to think of a good example here. Maybe like when you're outside of church, focus on those things, and when you're in church, just try and get your mindset on church and come early so you can get your mindset on prayer and God. Does that help your question? And if there's any other questions, feel free to ask them. I'll give you guys a few moments for that.
That did answer my question. It helped because I am out of touch in my mid age and I'm trying to lead some young people, and so I wanted to make sure that ask you, because you are one of the greatest young people who are in touch and you have that good balance. So that does help me to just remember the positive reinforcement, keep working with these young people, stay consistent, and just keep teaching them that balance. So it does help. I'm just afraid that I'm so out of touch that I can't do this, but this meeting is actually helping me know that it's still doable.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Staying connected with them really helps too. Like if you have social media platforms, staying connected with them on there. Because I know different students I work with connect better on different social media platforms. I have some students who work better on text message. I have some students who work better on Instagram, and some students who work better on Snapchat. So I try and get as many different social media platforms as I can to stay connected with those different students based on how they stay connected the best. Or some people do it based on connection in person. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns before we end? I'll give you guys a minute or two for that.
Well, if you're about to end, then I just wanted to say one more thing. I really appreciate what you're doing. You're one of the most inspiring, most amazing young person in this whole district. Anybody better do this than you, and I appreciate you, Abby. The only reason we're trying to do a P7 club and trying to, raise up some youth at that Muldoon work here in Anchorage and in the bus ministry is because you reignited a passion in me from your living and from your walk with God. It reignited a passion in the bus ministry. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Sister Stacy. Before we end, since we have a few minutes, is there anybody who wants to share any exciting testimonies of what's been going on in P7 clubs or anything like that? Or anything exciting about what's going on in your youth groups? I'll give anybody a few moments to do that. Sister Stacy, you want to share what's been going on in the P7 club there?
I did, but I felt bad, like I'm done with the conversation, so I was holding back. We've been running the youth for I think 3, maybe 4, and it's starting out slow. But on our first night, we had 12 people, which I give kudos to Micah for that. She's leading our young people. I'm keep delegating on to her and keep trying to train her. And kudos to her, because I told her the first day that I opened bus ministry, we had 10 people. So I said, by having 12 people, you beat me. You beat me at my own game. And I was really happy about that. I was like, that's how it should be. These are the last days. And her catching momentum and doing greater things. That's what I would hope the young people would continue to do, is do way better than me, because I'm out of date, And then I was just really excited because the one night that we had a lower attendance, where we had like I think 9 or 6 people, one person got the Holy Ghost, and she was like, she was nervous, like, oh, can I do this? Is this working? And on the night that we were all kind of discouraged at our beginning of our opening, God gave a young person the Holy Ghost, and he said he felt like a preacher afterwards, and it was just such a wonderful, exciting thing to see that. And we're still a slow go, but it is just super exciting because it is growing, and the young people that she has, she's getting them, they want to stick with her, and she's making those good relationships and being that positive influence. So awesome.
Thank you, Sister Stacy, for that. That's amazing what's going on there. And I'm pretty sure that's going to encourage one of our young people somewhere in the district to start a P7 club, either if it's on this meeting right now or if it's later on when they watch the YouTube video. I believe someone's going to get encouraged from that. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for attending that today. I know everybody's pretty busy with Christmas coming on and HYC coming on pretty soon, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm excited to see everybody there. It's going to be a phenomenal time. So our next meeting will be right before, pretty close to HYC time, December 14th at 3 p.m. Alaska time and 5 p.m. Yukon time. I hope you guys can make it to that. I'll see you guys there. Have an awesome week. All right, I'll see you guys in about 3 weeks. Bye.
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 Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for coming.